Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Moshe Karen and we will be going through roadway corridor alignments in today's tutorial. Taking a look at the agenda, we will be talking about alignments and profiles in the context of corridors in terms of setting up your centerline alignments along the roadways, how to generate the existing ground profiles that you can then use as a reference, and then adding in the important finish proposed grade profiles utilizing the profile creation tool. Without further ado, let's jump into the models. For this series of tutorials, we will be working with some sample files, which I've uploaded and shared. The first being a EG surface, and the second being a general site plan example of a road and a loop along with a alleyway in the middle. These files will be available, such as EG and site plan, which you can find at the link below. Next housekeeping item, I would recommend for now, since we'll be utilizing data shortcuts as well, that you can create a sample project, for example, in your download folder, and we can set up some data shortcuts, which I'll show right now. So if we navigate to the tool space and we go to data shortcuts, you can see that there's right now nothing set. From there, I can do set working folder to set to my downloads, which I've already done. And I can do create data, a new data shortcut project folder. From there, we can see it's already set to my username with downloads and sample projects. I can give it a name, which I'll say data shortcut roads. And with that, I'll click OK. From there, it will now have data shortcut set up. And if we take a look back at our downloads folder, we can see how our sample project now has this new folder called data shortcuts roads. From there, we've got the shortcuts folder with all the various sub-entity folders, which will be useful for the data shortcut links. Wonderful. Now, before we open up a new file, which we will be utilizing for our alignments, let's make sure that we data shortcut the EG. In our case, we have the site plan, the EG. So if we go to the EG file, we now see that the shortcut folder is available. We can right click, do create data shortcut. From there, we can add the EG. So right now, this surface option is not expanded, but if we were to add it, we see that now, if we wanted to add to another file, the EG is available. Fantastic. From there, let's start a new drawing. Let's give it a name when we're done of alignments. So file, save as, and let's call this alignments. From here, we'll start by data shortcutting in the EG surface. So let's go to the tool space on the bottom to create reference. We have the option to choose a style. For now, I'll just default to the background. If I double click the middle of my scroll wheel, I can be zoomed right to there. Then I will do XR to open up my external references, pin it to the side. From there, we can click on the attach DWG to attach and overlay the site plan as a background. Click OK, click overlay, make sure that the units all are compatible. And just like that, we now have that in the background. From here, we now know here's our surface, here's our center lines that we want to trace and use as the center lines for the corridor. Now we have various options for selecting these lines, but in my case, since I already have this open, I'll just navigate to that one. And since I've done most of the work for you, I'll grab the polyline, do a select similar, and we can see I have them as row center line. I'll do a quick copy paste I'll do 0, 0, 0, and copy them over. Come back to this file. I'll do a paste and do paste to original coordinates. So that way I have those lines to start with. One thing to note with center lines is when you have a radius, such as the outer, so if I do a measure geometry tool, I have a 45 outer, a center line of 30, and a inner one of 15, thereby telling me that this roadway is 15 feet lanes on each side, so 30 feet total. And as with curb radius, you want to add the width of the road to your radius. So if this radius on the center line was 15, it would be an abrupt 90-degree turn. Just an FYI. Next, let's take a look at adding these center lines to our tool space. So right now, if we add these alignments, we see that there's no center line alignments created yet in the model. We can quickly add them by going to the top ribbon under Create Design. Under Alignments, we have choices to either create it from scratch with a new creation tool, or in our case, since we already have the polylines drawn, I will use the Create from Object. If I go to the first line and I select it, I can do polyline. I'll press the Enter key on my spacebar. Then it will highlight the direction of travel, in this case, going backwards. If I want to reverse it, I can just click the R on my keyboard, and we're good to go. From there, I have options to choose the name. So I'll simplify this and call this number 1, and give it a name of centerline. I'll give it a style proposed. In this case, I will just choose to opt to do major and minor. I will choose to not do any curvature because I already have it. And because I like to still have sometimes line works in the back, I'm going to choose not to erase the existing entity. Okay, to accept. And now if we expand out our centerline list on the left, we see we have number 1. From here, I'll share another quick tip that, as we saw when we went to do a alignment from object, if we look at the bottom, we see it executes the command create alignment entities, in which we then selected a line, press entered, and OK. And it brought up the following dialog with the various styles and so on. But let's take a look. Every single element in this dialog is actually available in the settings, where we have, for example, the proposed style, the alignment label set, the curvature. So let's quickly just go to our settings and take a look. If we expand out alignments, we expand out commands, and we look at our command bar by pressing F2, we see we execute the command create alignment entities, which is create alignment entities. If we right click to edit the command settings, from here we can look at the settings involved and choose to assign the desired styles. So for example, if we want them to be label a major minor, we could do that as well. If we want the naming format to be something else, we can change it here as well. Such as this, if we want the alignment name to be a counter, we can insert a counter, and we can start from number 2 since we already have number 1. And similarly, we have all the other elements available as well to edit. So I'll do close. The way the settings work is that they go a waterfall style. So the highest level, if we edit it over here, it would affect all the commands beneath it. But if we want to do a specific command, we edit the lower ones. In this case, I'll actually edit all of them. So I'll make sure that my alignment name is set to a counter and set to 2. Okay. Expand out the window. We can see that we have childs going into the fact that the lower levels would be overridden at certain commands than this, but I can choose to remove that. And similarly with the various styles as well, default styles, I can choose to change this to be instead major minor. I can override it, but do this with caution because sometimes you may want certain settings to have certain styles applied. But for now, I'll just do this to make sure that my changes get applied. Now if I come back to my prospector and I go on alignments from object, let's click it once more. I click on this polyline, I press enter, I'll press accept. Now we see that it has already defaulted to the right style that I want, and I have less boxes I need to check. Has it this set as well to number 2, like we preset in the settings. I'll do OK. I'll press enter to repeat the last command executed. I'll select this one, this polyline. I'll press enter, enter, and only one dialog to check. So now I have all 3. If I expand 3, I have 1, 2, and 3. One last thing I like to do, depending on how large your file is, you may have a lot of alignments. So what I like to do is come up to the Annotate tab to add labels. And since we're working with alignments in this case, I will choose my feature from my dropdown to be alignments right here. From there, I'll choose a label style. In this case, I'll do single segment. I'll select the line label style to be an alignment name. If I look at the preview, which doesn't show much, but if I click add, it'll ask in the dialog to select an entity. I'll zoom in, I'll select this one. It'll give a number right there, applying the name. And the nice thing is it dynamically detects the alignment at play. So I've got number 1, number 2, and number 3. And if I wanted an additional label right there, I could add it as needed. I'll do close, and I'll do escape. Now that we have our alignments in place, let's start making existing ground profiles. So if we go up to the ribbon under Create Design, we have the option to do a profile. In this case, I'll choose to create a surface profile. From there, it'll detect my alignment. I can choose EG and do add. One thing I like to do as well, let's start with this, is reconfigure the settings to do a better naming convention. So for now, I'll do cancel. But if I go here and I do settings once more, I like going to profile, command, create profile from surface. From there, I can then change the default naming convention. Instead of it being as we just saw, I will choose to have it say the sampled surface name and the alignment name with a dash. Like so. I'll click OK. So I come back. Let's go to Profile, Create Surface Profile. Try this once more. And now we see a much neater naming format. From here, I will click the dialog of Draw and Profile View. I'll do next, next. I'll go through the options of how I want my profile view to be. I'll leave it at the default. And next, next. Here I have the options to choose a style. So in this case, ground profile is perfect for existing ground. And I would like node labels right now, which I will change though as I develop a finished grid. And bands for now is fine. Do create a profile view. Let's pan over to the right and add it. So just like that, if we look at our profile, we now have an existing ground in red, highlighting the existing ground. From here, I will rinse and repeat for the other ones, using the same dialog of profile, create surface profile, and this time doing the drop down for the next one. But I'll do it in super fast speed, so blink and boom. And just like that, with a little bit of video editing magic, we have 3 existing ground profiles on our screen. If we navigate to our tool space on the left, we can see our centerlines 1, 2, and 3. If we expand them out, we'll see our profiles of the existing ground and our profile views, thereby displaying them like so. Now as our last step, let's start adding in some finished ground proposed profiles to these various profiles. So we again have the reference as in red, if we trace it back to the beginning, we see it starts over here, and if we look at our cursor on the left as it travels through, it goes up to that point. Likewise over here, we follow it along, we see that the intersection between the two is about there. Let's add a little marker. So let's annotate, just do a little M text for now, and let's call this number 1. Obviously, we'll make this a bit bigger. Let's go to our properties, and let's set the text height to be, okay, just right. This is a little bit more of a reference about where it is. Can shift it over, and then this one will intersect the two sides of profile number 2. So when creating a design profile, you'll want it to often tie into existing grade at a start point. So if we go to our profile tools, last time we used create surface profile. In this case, we'll do profile creation tool by using the layout. In this case, our layout is already set. We just need to select a profile view to start. So I'll select this one. In this case, I will choose to do, I'll give it the name of number 1 FG. And again, we can configure that to say instead, it should be the alignment name, in this case number 1, and then FG to be more dynamic. In this case, I'll be utilizing a design profile, and I'll choose to do the complete label set as opposed to no label set. That will have more information available. From there, I get a dialog that allows me to use the various tools when editing profiles. In this case, I'll just start with the basic of drawing tangent to tangent. If I zoom in over here on the right, I'll start it at the beginning point. And to make it super simple, I will type F3 to turn off my snaps, and I'll turn it to be as if it's flat. So just drag and trace between the two, and we're good. With the labels style set, it automatically populates with the elevations. In this case, it's about 42 on both sides, flat. We can verify it again with the slope. If we were to select this little blue icon, we can get a little Excel vista in their panorama that then shows us the elevations. So let's say we wanted to change this to be, say 44. We can edit it like that. And now let's do the same thing with this dialog. So again, we come up to Profile, Profile Creation tool. We'll select the next profile. Again, we will say it should be the alignment name, -FG. Again, we can configure that by the settings, but for now, I'll just be typing it. I'll do OK. From now, we can see our layout tool signify that we've switched to 2FG, finish grade. Again, we'll see the same dialog. In this case, I'm going to just do these snaps to start, at the start and the end. But I'll use this dialog to edit these elevations using a shift select. So I can select both of them. I'll click on one now and type 44. And I'll do 44. Thereby matching this endpoint with this loop road as a good practice for setting up our next stage of intersections. And then similarly with this one, do it one last time, do a profile creation tool, select this, give it a name. I'm just going to type it this time, 3-FG, do OK. Once again, select over here. In this case, since I know these grid lines are at those points, I'm going to use this about and grab over there. Again, I can utilize my editor and type 44 and 44 to give me starting design profiles. In this case, I'm not seeking to match the existing road because I designing as if I were to be regrading this entire portion. If you were doing more roadway design as opposed to grading, you would likely try to match your ups and downs closer to the existing ground to avoid high volumes of filling cut and have a better earthwork balance. Taking a look at our finished model, we now see that we have profiles for the existing ground and finished ground, seeing how nice having good naming conventions come into play. This one being an existing surface, this one being our design, and for each of the three to start. Recapping today's session, in today's tutorial we learned about alignments and profiles, how to set up centerline alignments along a roadway, utilizing existing line work that you may have in your drawing, such as create alignment from object. We showcased the setting up of an existing surface ground profile, as well as designing our own finished grade profile utilizing the profile creation tool. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.